Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another Limited Toy Collector. As I say, today I'm pretty much going to be highlighting a couple of these products. So today we're going to talk about the Nick Toons series. This one came out around 2012. It's by the company called Jazwares. If you've been an avid toy collector, you know who they are. Most of what I know them for is their Pokemon stuff, but they do way more than that. Now, around the 2012s, about 2010 to like 2015, Nickelodeon made a really hard effort to revive their IPs. They wanted to make sure that, like, folks had, hey, get nostalgia out of it, since a lot of those kids are now in their 20s, and the whole concept of being a kid adult with money came into place. So, and they realized some of the older toys were just so expensive that they started doing these small little figures. So this is about like 2.5, inch figures for these, and then they also have the little mini figures that comes in sets of 6. I believe they did almost like, there was like almost 18 variants between the Rugrats, you had Thornberries, you had all kinds of stuff. They pushed out all kinds of like little sets for these. But yeah, so it was kind of really cool that it wasn't, they at one point they pushed the 1990s IPs, but then later on they started getting to the 2000s IP. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Nick Toons action figure series. Alright, so let's take a closer look. So here is the one that I have. This is Hey Arnold. And like I said, he came out in 2012. So we're looking at, close to around 15 years old. Still in the card, you can easily find these. And like I said, they were meant to kind of allow people that don't have deep pockets to pretty much just kind of get a little piece of nostalgia. And they just add it to their desk. So it's just a standalone figurine. It does have limited range on them, as you can see in the arms. But I'm going to be frank, with these little skinny arms, I would not be playing too much with articulation on it. My feeling is that this will pop off. And Arnold, while he was a really interesting design, he does not make the most sturdiest of figures. So I wouldn't mess with him too much. A couple other ones that were in the set that you all might remember would be great ones like Cat Dog. Cat Dog was such an interesting show. Cat Dog, Cat Dog. And he came with a little fire hydrant. How long in the world can be a little cat dog? Remember that show was great. Ren and Stimpy. And these were only Target exclusive. So that's one of the things about, again, some of these figures, that if you do try to collect them, you have to be able to go between stores. And the Ren and Stimpy figure was one that was explicitly Target exclusives. And then you also had the Danny Phantom. Now, I don't know why the Danny Phantom one is posted for $400 and another one for $275. Have you seen these figures up close? That is not a $400 figure. I don't care what anybody says. This is not a $400 figure, but that is just my opinion. Maybe there's something about Danny Phantom. Maybe it's the only Danny Phantom figure. I don't freaking know. I remember the show, but by the time it came out, I was already like in my early 30s. And I was, post working animation field. So it was, this was after my time. But yeah, $400 for this figure, shut the front door. No. Then you also had Jimmy Neutron. And then you also had like Very Odd Parents. Here is a young man. I'm not going to play his channel, but I can provide his video where he also has the Very Odd Parents and the Rugrat figures. Now, if I go back over here, as you can see, this is pretty much what I was talking about, where there was these smaller, these were figurine sets. So, you can see there's Wanda, Cosmo, Vicky. So you have the core characters, the Crimson Chin. And I can't remember his name right now, the bad guy. Not the bad guy, but the main guy running the fairies. Then you had the Rugrats set as well. And then you also had these right here. They were like this little mini figures. So they did kind of these, just a slew of different sets, So if you wanted to kind of be nostalgic for, your cartoon stuff, you could go ahead and buy one of the Nick Toons series or Hey Arnold series or whatever and not break the bank. So that was kind of dope. But as far as I'm tracking, there was a Very Odd Parents, a Rugrats set, and there was, I believe there was one more. No, maybe that was it. Nope. I thought it was a Thornberry, but I could be hallucinating that. There is a kind of Invader Zim type figures of Very Odd Parents. Now, you thought the Invader Zim figures were expensive. The Very Odd Parents ones are incredibly expensive. That's a set I never got into because it was always way out of my price range. But anyway, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at our Hey Arnold figure and then go from there. All right, so let's take a look at the Hey Arnold figures. You can see there's him with his little pig from the show. The pig is just a solid shape. That's it, he's just a mold. But Hey Arnold has a few points of articulation. That would be, I believe, his neck. There's clearly the nodes there on his shoulder. And as far as I'm tracking, maybe his waistline at best. But I would not be tempting fate. Like I said, I love his design for the show. And the show was fantastic. If you ever got a chance to watch it, I will suggest to go back and rewatch it. Especially, I can't remember the name of I believe it was the Vietnamese neighbor. The story about him and his daughter. Like, there was a lot of adult themes in Hey Arnold that when we were kids, we didn't catch it, and you go back as an adult and you're going, oh my God. So yes, I will highly suggest to go back and watch the show. But going back to the figure, as you can see, he's very simple. This is, like I said, this is a entry-level figure for a more casual person, or maybe a parent that want to introduce their kids to the stuff that they grew up with. So it's just a really nice figurine. It's solid, it's simple. And this did not break the bank. I remember when I bought these, they were like, maybe like $5, $6. It wasn't very expensive. I'll leave it at that. It was not past $15. It was like less than $10. So these were really cool when they came out. And they're very simple. They're just meant for you to grab them, not really collect them. Just pretty much grab them. It does talk to you in the back. So you have this really beautiful, like all the Nickelodeon cartoons from that era that were going to be featured. And then you also, it talks about Nickelodeon, and then, you know, the creator a little bit, like who created the show. And then it's got the warning label. So it's just like a really quick, hey, here's your Hey Arnold figure, comes with accessory. It's a Nickelodeon property. It's created by Craig Bartel, and there is some warning labels, blah, blah, blah. Make sure your kid doesn't choke, yada, yada, yada. And again, just like before, it's also done by Jazwares. So, yes. All right. So, but all in all, you know, it's pretty cool. I wish I would have picked up some more of them. I did pick up more of the Hanna-Barbera ones. We'll talk about those in a little bit. But, you know, this is just the only one that I got from the Nick Toons series, because it's the only one that, one, I found at the time, and two, it's the only one that I really kind of wanted, to be honest, at the time. Guys, I appreciate you guys joining me for Not Living with a Toy Collector. Again, this is me continuing to downsize for my stuff. And the Hey Arnold, unfortunately, I think I'm still debating. I might keep him. But for most part, I said my problem is that I don't have the place to display a lot of my figures, if I did, at least safely, because I do have cats, and even though I try to be very diligent to paying attention to what they do, I cannot control what they do. They have chewed through a few of my figures, the card and stuff, so I am extra paranoid. So I'm at the point right now, I just keep this in a tote, and it's just getting to the point that I was like, dude, I can't even enjoy them. Just go ahead and, like, you know, sell them to somebody else, and maybe they can enjoy it. But yeah, so like I said, this one I am on the fence, because I do like Hey Arnold. So, but, you know, it is what it is. It's just part of adulting. You know, I am 44 right now, so it's one of those things that, you know, I kind of rather have the space and the cash than have a figure that's just going to be sitting in a tote this whole time. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me. I love to hear your feedback. If you have any more of the NickToon figures, let me know which one is your favorite. Like I said, I like Nickelodeon IPs for fantastic. So, you know, same thing with Cartoon Network. Rest in peace. But I'll continue going through my collection as usual. But anyway, guys, I will talk to you later. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.